In the early 20th century, Majolica tiles adorned countless homes across Taiwan. Now, as the craft slowly disappears, IT professional Hsu Jia-bin has stepped in to preserve their beauty through his growing collection.
When the family plaque was finally lifted off the old house, I saw the elders start to cry. I'm Hsu Jia-bin. I love Majolica tiles because I love old houses. Let's discover the beauty of Taiwan's Majolica tiles.
A single Majolica tile can hold the story of an entire family. These colorful tiles are set into gable walls, covered walkways, and the decorative beams of Taiwan's old houses, quietly witnessing generations of memories and change. In 2016, Taiwan's Majolica tiles joined those from around the world in a joint submission to UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage, so that their beauty could be recognized globally. And behind that movement was one passionate advocate, Hsu Jia-bin.
I think it would be a pity to only look at Taiwan's Majolica tiles for their beauty. Once you understand the symbolism behind them, you'll fall in love with the culture they represent. For example, it shows two magpies singing happily on a plum blossom tree, symbolizing good news. 100 years ago, our ancestors loved magpies, but it was rare to see them. So placing Majolica tiles with magpies on their walls would bring good fortune and happiness. Most of the tiles we collect come from old houses being torn down. We carefully salvage them and restore them piece by piece. Over the years, I've collected more than 10,000 tiles. In the museum, they're organized by design. About 1,500 unique patterns are on display for everyone to enjoy and learn from.
Every collector has a story of where it all started. For Hsu, it was a single blue flower painted on an old ceramic tile that changed everything.
I remember once, while I was documenting old buildings, I came across a house where the tiles were falling off, even from the rooftop ridge. The owner noticed one blue tile on the ground and handed it to me as a gift. That became my very first tile. I'll never forget it. It was a blue tile made of 4 sapphire-colored leaves forming a flower. It's a Persian speedwell flower, which symbolizes sapphire, and it carries the meaning that every newborn should be welcomed into the world with gentleness and good health. I found it so romantic, and that's how I started my collection, with that very first tile. In the beginning, we were just a group of students who loved photographing old architecture. We didn't have girlfriends. We were all engineering majors, total nerds. So naturally, we spent our free time taking pictures of old houses. Yeah, kind of pathetic when you think about it. As we shot those buildings, we realized that Taiwan's most beautiful houses were covered in these amazing tiles. We were really surprised, but it would take a long time before we found another one. We started searching for these tiles everywhere, while we kept documenting architecture. We asked many professors, but no one really knew. Everyone just assumed the tiles were supposed to be there. After digging through old documents, we discovered that these tiles connected Taiwan to the rest of the world. Each one was hand-painted and carried a long and beautiful history.
Hsu works in the tech industry, but he was once just a graduate student fascinated by Taiwan's historic houses. When he discovered Majolica tiles, he and a group of like-minded friends began racing against the excavator, spending nights and weekends rescuing tiles from old buildings. It became a rescue mission that's lasted more than 2 decades.
This is Shiming Hall. Chiayi City is known as the City of Wood, with over 6,000 wooden houses, many of which have been beautifully restored. This particular house is special. It was once a stage in front of the Chenghuang Temple that's been transformed into a private home. Let's take a look together and see how beautiful these tiles are. I really love Shiming Hall because it reflects 100 years of Taiwan's Majolica tile history. The floor, for example, was laid in the 1960s. It's a locally designed mosaic tile that was made in Taiwan. The 1960s was a wonderful era. People worked hard, but they also wanted to make life more beautiful. Decorating their homes with colorful tiles was their way of showing love and pride for their families. That's why Taiwanese homes are so colorful. They're a reflection of everyday life and creativity fostered among the people. This culture is truly precious. Let me show you a rare 100-year-old tile right inside a bathroom. Back in those days, seeing a tile like this meant the owner was wealthy and had great taste. This tile dates to Japan's Taisho period. Over a century ago, this blue and white style, known as Hongyo Shikigawara, was an early form of modern ceramic tiles. It features a peony design. When 4 tiles are placed together, they form a peony in full bloom. It's absolutely stunning. Imagine back then being surrounded by elegance and beauty. Even while using the bathroom, it showed wealth, refinement, and imagination. Someone like you who loves old houses must be happy to see it preserved like this? Of course. If this bathroom were torn down, I'd never get to see this piece of history again, and it would be so much harder to trace the cultural connection between Taiwan and Japan. I've never been able to understand why these old houses, which carry a century of craftsmanship and our ancestors' emotions, keep getting torn down. Sometimes I watch these houses being demolished, and it breaks my heart because no one's paying attention. We can't stop the demolitions. We just don't have that kind of power. So over 20 years ago, after I started working, I began salvaging tiles before the buildings were torn down. Even if the house is gone, we can still keep it alive in another way. At least we can show the next generation how these tiles once gave this house its beauty and soul.
The most valuable tiles aren't always the rarest ones. For Hsu, the true treasures are the ones filled with family pride and sentimental memories.
I remember this was in an old house in Tainan. It had 3 traditional courtyard sections. The family plaque was placed above the entrance of the second courtyard. When they tore down the other parts of the house, no one seemed particularly emotional. But when it came time to remove the plaque, everything changed. In every traditional home we visit, the family plaque sits right above the main entrance. It represents where you come from, your roots, your family identity. That's why some families decorate their plaques with Majolica tiles to symbolize love and unity within the family. When we started dismantling the plaque and lifted it up with a crane, you could see the homeowner and his children burst into tears. That was the moment they realized that the 100 years of history, the effort their ancestors put into building that home, the days he spent here with his father, all their memories and hard work, all of it was gone in that very instant. It was something they could never get back. Even if you build a brand new home, more beautiful house next to it, the stories of the old one can never be told again. By the time they realized it was too late, that's why they couldn't hold back their tears.
But these tiles aren't just decorations on old houses. They also appear on everyday furniture, quietly telling stories about the beauty and romance of a generation.
Majolica tiles connect people. They carry human emotions and relationships. That's why they were often used on furniture tied to people's lives, like this red wedding bed. A red wedding bed was something a groom prepared for his bride. If he decorated it with Majolica tiles, it meant he truly valued her. It was his way of saying, "I'm welcoming you into my life, and I'm giving you the very best I have." The bed would often come with a matching dressing table or a chair. These beautiful pieces of furniture would stay with a woman throughout her life. To me, that's incredibly romantic, because Majolica tiles last forever. Their colors, never fade. Furniture is different from buildings. When a house is demolished, it's gone. But with furniture, I can preserve an entire piece of history. Whenever I see someone throwing away a piece of Majolica tile furniture, or when an owner is moving, I do everything I can to save it.
When these tiles are paired with family plaques and furniture, they become more than just objects. They tell the stories of families and the people who lived around them. While preserving these memories, Hsu hopes to give the tiles new life and hope for the future.
Majolica tiles have really enriched my life. They've helped me find a perfect balance between science and art. Through this journey, I feel truly blessed, maybe even luckier than most people, because I've had the chance to see Taiwan's Majolica tile culture before it disappears. But what makes me sadder than anyone else is that when I go back to visit those old buildings, the ones with Majolica tiles, I often find they're already gone. I don't like the act of preservation because to preserve something often means to destroy it. Once a tile is removed from its home, it's no longer living. When we preserve these tiles, our hope is that one day they can be restored and returned to old houses. That's my sincerest wish.